Hello, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been absurdly long. I think it's been 5 months since I uploaded. And when I started this, I was planning on doing an update on my journals every month, but unfortunately that's not how it happened. So today I'm just going to do a flip through of everything from February on. I already have a video up of things that happened in my journals January and February. So I'm gonna skip the monthly since I don't use it. This is what my front cover section looks. Not very fancy, relatively practical. I don't really use the monthlies or the section here. I have put some extra images of things I've watched throughout the year, and I don't really have space for anywhere else here since I don't use it, and I thought that would be a good use. So starting up from my weeklies, as I mentioned last time, I use these weeklies for my media. I'm gonna just turn this photo over because it's a little bit explicit and I'm not sure if I can show it. So here I talk about fan fictions, K-dramas, books, YouTube videos, everything. I have started putting posters of the shows I watch when I can. Include those. More of that. I'm kind of just going to flip through this. I don't think I have much to say here. And depending on how much I have to say, I will write a bunch or not at all. And then I've come across some favorites this year. One of them is When Life Gives You Tangerines. I think that is a masterpiece that I think everybody should watch. So, I don't think I started this show this week, but this is a C-drama called Love Game in Eastern Fantasy, and it follows a woman who kind of wakes up in the body of a villain in a web novel, which I think is a very common trope you kind of see in isekai and webtoons. I think this is the first time I came across it in Chinese drama form. I'm sure there are many more, but I really like the humor. It's really chill, and the set is really cozy. And I thought it was a really chill show. I haven't finished it yet. Kind of stopped watching one day and then just like never got back to it. I do intend on finishing it, just like whenever I can. Here's another week. I think this should be around the time I finished up college for myself, and so I was reading and watching things a lot more. I started a new K-drama, which I think is deeply underrated, called Run On, and I think it's just a very quiet story with some really interesting characters. I think the main lead here is incredibly understated, and he's really chill, and I think he could make like for a really great character to analyze. I started another Thai BL called Top Form, and the first episode, or the first 2 episodes, are incredibly exquisite. The chemistry between the two is amazing, and then the rest is just like so incredibly bad. I could not bear to watch it. I had to skip through. It's not only about the acting or anything. I think the acting was great. The problem was the writing was horrendous. Like, they would keep like ending up in these situations where they would get into these pointless fights with each other about nothing, and they would be so serious about it too. They'd be like, oh no, like like crying about it, breaking up with each other. And it's like, it's not that serious. 2, you're just horrible people. And I feel like that's not who the characters are. I think that's just bad writing. And I was also watching My Dearest Nemesis, which is another K-drama that I think people just don't talk about. I think it was just okay, fun to watch. I don't think it's underrated. I think it's fine. More stuff. Clearly I missed out on some days here. A Smitsky spread. I started Twinkling Watermelon. I couldn't get into it. I do plan on going back to it, but I had a really hard time gaining interest. I have a hard time with high school K-dramas in general, so that's where I was getting stuck. So maybe I'll go back eventually since I do hear good things about it. I really got into like K variety shows like Living Alone, and I was watching a bunch of clips of that on YouTube. I've been watching more as well. I really like all the cooking content, which is really fun. And it looks like I started Love Game in Eastern Fantasy here. I'm also watching a bunch of reaction channels right now. I'm watching a couple of people reacting to One Piece from the beginning, which I think is really interesting. I do watch a particular K-drama reaction channels. I watch pretty much everything they release. If I've watched it, there was a bit, I think I was having a hard time sleeping at night, and I was thinking about Shin-chan, so I went on like a little hunt to find Shin-chan episodes to watch. I couldn't find them anywhere. It was so hard to find a subbed/dubbed version of the anime. And then once I found it and I watched it, I was like really shocked, because I watched it in my childhood, right? I don't remember it being as strange as it was now. So I did some research, and turns out that the Indian version, which is what I watched, was significantly censored to kind of remove some of the strange attributes of the show. And I was like, that kind of makes sense. But even then, I feel like I didn't quite remember how strange the show was. I started The Color of Magic, which is the first book in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. I read the first like 30-50 pages. I was really excited. It's been such a long time since I found a favorite book. So I was reading them and I was like, this is it. This is it. And like the more I kept reading it, it just became worse and worse. And I was so frustrated. At this point, it's April, May. I've read a bunch of books. I haven't had a 5-star yet. I'm really mad. I want something to be a favorite. More mangas, more K-dramas, you know, the usual. I did start watching like Bad Buddy reactions from a bunch of people, because I got the Thigh BL bug. So I was watching just about every reaction on Bad Buddy there was. And I think Bad Buddy is one of the few Thigh BL that I genuinely like and think is really interesting. Mostly because I started watching the Thai BL of My Love Mix-Up, which I didn't like. I did start watching Last Twilight, which I think is a deeply underrated Thai BL. I think this is maybe also one of my favorite BL so far. Really interesting, and brings up a lot of important, I don't know, topics, because it follows this man who's going blind, in the process of going blind, and he's not taking it very well. He used to be a tennis athlete, I believe, and he's having some issues with his eyes. He can't see, and he has quite a rich family, so eventually his mother gets him a caretaker to kind of take care of like meals and guide him around and take him to like appointments, and it's a relationship between them. But we do discuss about like independence as somebody who's going blind, and like what it feels like when people around you are too careful around you, that kind of thing. Like it's interesting. Yeah, here's Twinkling Watermelon poster. I also started yet another Thigh BL because I was just on the roll. And I started watching Golden Blood. Now, Golden Blood was awful. It was really bad. I tried my best to watch as much as I could, but there was just something about it. It was so bad. And it wasn't even bad in a good way. So I just gave up halfway through. I was like, there's no point, right? I kind of just gave up. Around this time, I was having a hard time keeping up with my journal. I came back later and just wrote down as much as I could remember. Just wrote down all the titles of things that I may have watched. So I had something there, even if I hadn't like delved deep into it or talked about it too much. And I do this for quite a while because it's all downhill from here. I was having a really hard time for many months, and I kind of still am, but a little bit better. So things just look like this from now on. And I think I'm happy with this because I still have a good like visualization of things I was consuming at this time. I think around this time I also got back into BTS. Not that I ever stopped necessarily, but I wasn't like hardcore consuming their content and stuff. And this is also because this was around the time they were coming back from their military stop, and I was, kind of like re-immersing myself into the world. So I was watching reaction videos for BTS. I was watching Festa videos for 2025, because this is also around the BTS's anniversary, which it was all special in many ways. I was consuming a lot of things that I missed out on around the time that I was too busy to be caught up with BTS. And frankly, I still haven't watched everything from that time, because even when they went on a quote-unquote hiatus, they were releasing an absurd amount of things, which I'm falling behind on. I finally watched the Festa 2022 dinner, which, if you're not an ARMY, this is not a big deal to you, but this is the dinner where they were like, we're going to take a break, and they decided that they were going to live apart, and they were talking about how it was hard to be, like, together and be, like, BTS together, and the ARMY were freaking out, and it's, like, a really emotional video. When I watched this on this day, I couldn't remember if I had watched it or not, like, when it came out. I feel like I was aware of it, I was in the know, but 2022 was such a year, that I don't know if I actually watched it or not. When I watch it now, it didn't have that big of an impact on me, simply because I know, like, what happened after, and what's happened in the years since, so it's not a big deal to me, and I could take it with some maturity. I didn't panic. I doubt I would have panicked the first time around either, but I don't know, I'm glad I was able to kind of revisit that. I was watching In the Soup. I watched it by myself, the first and the second season, and I watched like some reactors watch it as well. Just, I think there's something so comforting about In the Soup. If you don't know what In the Soup is, once again, this is around COVID time. So BTS had a traveling show where called Bon Voyage, where they would go on like vacations to places, and just spend like a week or two, and we'd see the travel show, right? This is around COVID time. They couldn't do that anymore, so they instead like rented out a place in the mountains, where they could like go on a little staycation and have like a bunch of things that they could do, like, I don't know, like riding like RC motorboats, and playing music, cooking food, video gaming, puzzling, putting together figures, all that stuff. And it's just a really calming, relaxing show. And I was having a hard time. You're gonna hear me say that a lot. And so this was really helpful at that time. And I've only written one thing on this 2-page spread, and that's BTS Bon Voyage Season 1. I started rewatching that because I wanted to watch all the seasons again, just to refresh myself. And it's been so long since I watched this show that was insanely nostalgic. To watch some of those episodes again, I was like, wow, damn, has it been a while. I'm sure I've consumed other things on these pages, or on these days, but I didn't mention them here, and I think I probably didn't remember enough to go back. I finally listened to the RM Right Place Wrong Person album. I have been delaying listening to this album for so long, which is really strange because RM is my bias and I tend to like his music, and I think I was just really intimidated and not ready to like dive into new music. And I had this weird thing where I was like, I want to only dive in when I have the time to give it like sufficient energy and attention, and it just didn't feel right. So now, after like I think it's been 2 years since the album came out, I finally gave it a listen, and I think it's been one of my favorite albums in a while. It's genuinely so good, and it really inspired me. Not that I've done anything with that inspiration, by the way, but it did inspire me. And I did like a deep dive on all the music videos and stuff, which the music videos are also really interesting. And this is around the time that I also started reading BTS Beyond the Story, which I didn't come back. That says page 1 to 2, but it's 200 something. I know for a fact, I think I went to check which page I reached and then forgot to come back. But I started reading BTS Beyond the Story, and because it felt like the right time, and that's like a nonfiction about BTS's 10 years together, and I thought that was a very enlightening book, especially the first half. I think the second half is alright, but I think the first half is something I was really keen on. More really empty pages. These were bad days. It's also, okay, global warming is in full effect. Chicago has been, or was, absurdly hot for like a month and a half. Like, just unbearable heat every single day for so long. And we have high temperatures, that's not strange, but we don't have them in a row for so long, and we don't have them the way we did this year. The heat this year felt really strange. Like, even though like the temperatures on my phone seemed reasonable, like they would be like, sometimes it would be like high 80s, and I'm like, that's not so bad, right? I go for a 15-minute walk, absolutely lose my shit, come back feeling sick, dizzy, like my energy was leached from me, and it was really strange. So I was having a really hard time in general, like even in my room, because our AC wasn't working that well. Even in my room, I could barely stand to be like physically present because the heat was killing me. So I was like laid out on the floor trying not to lose my shit. And heat, being hot, is a trigger for myself. Hey, yes, I am mentally ill. And I never do well in the summer, and the summer was especially brutal, which is why my journal looks like this. I started another book. I was watching another drama. Reading a webtoon, all that stuff. I finally watched K-pop Demon Hunters, which I really enjoy. I think it is. The animation was interesting. The music is good. The characters are interesting. I like how they represented K-pop, which I think they did a genuinely good job. Now, my only issue is I don't think the story itself was that awesome. I think the first half was amazing. The second half felt rushed. And I know, like, here are spoilers, but there is a major character death at the end of the movie. And that didn't have the kind of impact it should have. Because the moment I saw that, I was like, yeah, like, there's a second movie, he's gonna come back. Like, it's not a big deal. And it just didn't have any kind of impact on me, and I don't feel like that should have been the case. So I was glad to have watched it, though. I was watching BTS Bombardage Season 2, more reactions. So the side BL I was talking about, which is My Magic Prophecy, the characters, or not, the actors from that show, are starring in a different show as the main couple. So I was excited about that. And then just some stuff. Once again, really empty and unsatisfying pages. So, you know how I mentioned I haven't had a single book that's been my favorite for a really long time. And I was getting really frustrated and mad because I kept reading things and being like, I don't care. Like, I genuinely don't care. And so I started Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan on this day. The first page, I was feeling really bitter and like jaded. So I was like, oh, this is cringy, this is whatever, you know, like, oh, this feels so put upon. I was like, I don't care. But I was like, let's get to a page 100 before I decide if this book's not worth my time. And so I kept reading and it just became amazing. And this is kind of a twist. I'm really curious if Sarah Reese Brennan has read The Scum and Self-Saving System, because a lot of ideas and tropes and even plot beats were like showed up in this book, not in any way that was like copied or plagiarized. It was definitely like really refreshing and a new take. So like I wouldn't like it wasn't in a bad way, but I could see like shadows of that series, and I was so curious to know if she's read it. I feel like I read her biography and I kind of know her internet presence a little bit. I could definitely see her having read that. Anyway, that aside, this book is kind of a refreshing take on this woman gets transported into a book world that she's read as a villainess. This is starting to sound familiar. And she has to kind of figure out how to survive is basically it. It's like there's a lot of really great characters, which I really care about characters, so that really mattered. A nice city setting. I have come to find that I really like a city in my fantasy, and a good city writing will get me anytime. A great love interest. There's two couples right now. There's a main couple and a side couple. I like both of them really well. It's a nice slow burn, lots of yearning. A twist I saw coming, but I wasn't upset about that. And a part of the twist also followed like what I'd read from the Scum Villain, so I wonder if like that was another reason why I was like, has she read this series? Anyway, this was a 5-star after a really, really, really long time. And I was so happy to get it. I do intend to reread this book pretty soon. The second book comes out February next year, which is my birthday month. So that's great. I intend to reread it before that. This week I started a really interesting show called Smells Like Green Spirit, which I wouldn't recommend it lightheartedly because it's kind of a heavy show if you don't know what you're getting into, but it follows a queer boy in the 90s, kind of going through bullying and kind of dealing with his queerness in a place that's not very friendly. Lots of trigger warnings in that show, so I would be careful going into it. But it is very heartfelt and sweet. And I kind of want to rewatch it because I kind of binge watched it in another sleepless night, because another thing I'm struggling with is sleep. And I think I wasn't expecting it to be quite so heavy. And I guess this is this week now. We're all caught up. I started Bon Appetit, Your Majesty, which is a K-drama, which right now so far is so compelling and interesting and fun. It's not the best drama ever, I don't think, so far, but it is lots of fun. It's very cozy. It's a time travel. Our female lead travels back in time to the Joseon dynasty. She's a Michelin star chef. She's at the height of her career, looking forward to it, and gets transported back, gets in trouble with the king of this era, and then like becomes the royal cook in his palace. And it's a romance between the king and her. And so far there's been lots of like fun cooking segues, and I do like watching cooking, so that's been fun. I also started watching My Troublesome Star, which is female lead wakes up 25 years in the future. She used to be a famous actor. She was at the height of her career. Gets sent forward 25 years. Now she's nobody knows her. She's very broke. Her family dislikes her. She doesn't have anybody in her corner, and she's trying to solve what happened. And she has like a romance with a police officer. This is it's a pretty sad story, but also pretty humorous and sweet. And I think that's pretty good. I think I'm liking both of them about equally right now. Moving on to my daily pages now. We're starting with March. This is going way back, so I don't know if I'll remember much from this, but I'll try my best. March 1, I think I was supposed to get blood work done. I went in. Apparently, they didn't know where to get the labs done, or I didn't know where to get my labs done. I asked the people there if they knew where to get my labs done, and they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, sure, and then I just left. And then I spent like a solid 3 hours cleaning the suede jacket that I bought from kind of like a flea market. And I spent so long cleaning the suede jacket. I didn't clean it the way it's meant to be cleaned, but it was so old and so obviously dirty that it definitely needed some cleaning. And I'm not that precious with my suede. I didn't mind it looking a bit beaten up. So that was okay with me. The only problem is I don't think I don't think it was clean, even after I cleaned it. It definitely needs to go to the dry cleaner. And it had this, like, really old smell of, like, just being in storage for a really long time, which I don't know how I didn't catch when I was there and buying it. But that smell, by the way, it's been very many months. It's September now. It's still hanging up. And I thought, if I hang it up, maybe it will, like, maybe the air will take away that scent, And it didn't. I mean, it has certainly reduced, but it's still there. So I'm going to definitely take it to the dry cleaners. We're approaching the season where I can actually wear it, so we'll see. I was musing on this day that the day felt long and time felt generous, which rarely happens. Every day it seems to feel like every time I look at the clock, it's way further along than I expected to be. And so I was really having fun being like, time feels generous and languid, and that's really the case. Looking back at some of these spreads now, this was last month of college for me. I was so stressed out. I was absolutely going through it. Finals were on top of me, and I was having a really tough time, in a different way than I am doing now. And going back is so interesting to me because I'm talking here about an assignment that I was meant to do that I couldn't do, and more mental breakdowns and anxiety. I think this one is specifically based on the political circumstances at the time, and now it's worse. Yay. And so I was just going through it. And that's that. I know on this day, my insurance was kind of delayed, so I lost the appointment I had with the person who was managing my medication. And so I just kind of cold quit my medication. I was going to quit it anyway, but we're supposed to reduce it slowly over time. But since I couldn't meet them and I couldn't get my medicine renewed, I kind of just quit. And it was fine because I was on a very low dose. It wasn't a big deal. It did totally mess up my sleep, though. It messed up my sleep when I started it, and it messed up my sleep when I stopped it. And I don't think I've yet, properly recovered. I think I'm mostly recovered from my sleep being changed so completely, but it's somewhat still bad. The title says it all here. Classes canceled, whining about assignments, and just wanting to travel. Once again, hard. Just hard. Some more empty pages, a photo of myself, a Hirono box I got. I don't think this is, I think this is from the future. I don't think I bought it anytime at this point. These are some, Pop Mart boxes I did get on this day. I went out with a coworker of mine and we dropped into Pop Mart and I picked up some things. I got two of my favorite ones, which I've been incredibly lucky with my Pop Mart boxes, because I got two of my favorite ones here. And then in recently, when I bought some in May, I also got two of the ones I wanted, which I thought was very fortunate. I got a skull panda. I think this was also in the future, probably. More just photos, simply because I think I was just having a hard time journaling because I was tired all the time. I'm talking about the bagel. I got into this little routine. I have a work shift on Fridays, and every Friday I'd go pick up a bagel from Dunkin' Donut. And I don't know what it is about that bagel that got me going. It was so satisfying to gnaw on, and I found it to be so comforting when I was working. I don't know. Now I haven't had a bagel in ages now. Went out with friends. Had lots of fun. Clearly, I enjoyed myself. I took photos of myself after I came back because I thought it was so funny that I was just dressed in all black, right? Really comfortable. And then there was just my bag with all the bag charms. When I was out, I think this is around the days, it was St. Patty's Day. Really, really crowded. Everybody was all over the place. So I went out with my little bag and my charms, and I was thinking about bag charms as an avenue for conversation. I think there was a linguist on YouTube that was kind of talking about this, where everything that's on you kind of signals who you are as a person to other people outside you, and like is an invitation for a conversation. So like stickers on your laptop, or cool earrings, or your makeup, or rings and jewelry and shoes. Like fashion is an avenue for conversation. In the same way, putting bag charms on my bag allows people in and something to like start the conversation with, which I think somebody just talked about my bag charms that day, so I was thinking about it. And then this is a photo of like we're sitting down, we were having some like baguette jam, some mocktails, watching a movie with friends, which I thought was really lovely. Empty page. Struggling with sleep. This was a horrible day. I was struggling with the final. I finally finished the final. I was supposed to print the booklet. I finished designing the booklet too late for me to send it to the print center for the design students. So I was like, I'm gonna print it on my own. However, I could not get it to print the right way, where it would collate into pages that can actually go into a booklet, because you have to print it with like page 3 and 19 together, so that when you actually put them together, they'll flip the right order. I could not get it to print that way. So it was like 20 or 30 pages. I was printing in color every time. I think I had like an absurd amount of copies, like 3 or 4 copies of that. And I was wasting my money, right? Because I had used up all of my printing money by doing this. And then I was like, I need this booklet. So I printed it with money that I put in myself. So now I'm wasting my money trying to print this stupid booklet. I just could not get it to work. So I went in with like a stapled 2-page spreadsheet that you had to like flip like a fucking packet. And I was so mad at myself because it could have been good. I could do better. And I just looked like a loser on the table with my bookleted booklet. It was really frustrating for me. But I showed up anyway, and that's what matters. And I complained to my table mates about it. I put in some stickers from the little crybaby plushies I have. I was a little bit right now thinking about how things just end, because I was so stressed out because I had like 2 jobs. I had to finish up finals. I was really worried about graduating. At the end there, I was convinced that I was gonna fail something and like be held back or something like that. I was totally like super scared. I wasn't willing to celebrate graduation until I actually graduated. I was very scared, right? So I couldn't fully take in the fact that things were ending. So I was in the middle of my last class of the quarter and sat there in the middle of class being like, wait, this is my last class. And like, I felt like none of it I could fully take in. Things just kind of ended. And I think people talk about this all the time with their bachelors, but things just ended. And since I finished a quarter early than everybody else, I finished at an awkward time where people weren't being like, oh yeah, the graduating class of blah 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 in June, because I was done in March. And I was just awkwardly there. And I had a last assignment that I was struggling to do on this day. I was just doing it. And it wasn't a big assignment, but for some reason I could not finish it. And I think it was just a matter of I was dead tired. And my brain wasn't working. And I was ready to be over it. I think I'd been ready to be over it for like 2 quarters at this point. And that's that. Once again, I'm thinking about working out and getting buff. I couldn't go to the Chicago Stationery Fest because I was being really strict with myself and I didn't want to spend the money for the tickets. So I missed the Stationery Fest. And I was so angry because I'm like, people are traveling to attend this fest. I live here. I could have gone and I didn't go. And I was really mad at myself, but alas. I was thinking about getting into nail polish. I still want to, but waiting until I have money. Oh yeah, on this day, I had a really strange dream. I picked a fight with a Tesla truck driver, and he put like a metal nail in my shoulder. Felt very biblical. I feel like there was more to it, but I can't remember my dreams very well. So every now and then I'll remember like an image or two, and I write it down, just in case I forget. I'm struggling with sleeping. Lots of all-nighters and strange like hours of the day. Last time I think we talked about the Amazon boycott. Around this time I broke the boycott. I'm back on the boycott. I haven't bought anything in the last like 4 months or so, but I broke the boycott because I was really struggling with my sleep, and like I could not go to sleep at night, and I could not wake up in the morning. Like I was just struggling. So I got a twin bell alarm and like a vibration alarm, 2 things, and then in the hopes that them together would help, and they definitely did help. I regret my choice buying from Amazon, but I also do not regret it. I did not allow this to become an excuse for me to like just keep on buying from Amazon because I already broke it. I just went back on the boycott, and I don't ever intend to break it again. That was a moment of weakness. And finally, the Friday was like my last shift of being in college. By this point, my assignments were done. I was just there a week after my final assignment of being a bachelor student. I was also once again thinking about AI and the weird like political things going on around that time. This is so funny to read back to because I'm like, where we are now and where it was then, it's all bad, you know, but it was different. And then Saturday I finally got like my grades. My grades were finally in, and I saw that I passed everything, and I was so incredibly glad because once again that fear was there where I was like, maybe I didn't pass. A photo of me, my little media page. I've clipped this page together because it has a lot of photos of people, more photos of people struggling. I think, okay, I was sick for a very long time right after I finished college. I think I was sick for like 2 months, where like things were just on and off with me. I had a persistent cough for a really long time, and I think it was like everything catching up to me. This is a photo I took of the sky, where the sky looked really beautiful, absurdly beautiful even. And this was when I was having yet another sleepless night and caught the sunrise. And it was beautiful. So I was like, maybe the sleepless night was worth it. This is an image of what my desk looks like. I've got all the Pop Mart figures up here. I have a Grimjaw figure up here and here. I have some Pop Mart plushies hanging from this key in my desk. And this was my newest figure that I got that I love. From the Echo series, I believe at this point, which was the newest series at the time. From here on, it's still the newest series. I think I was just trying to celebrate my free time a little bit, so I was eating some instant noodles with some soju, watching One Piece, and just trying to chill out. Big cleaning day. April 22, we were thinking about, I was already thinking about Hobonichi. At that time, I think we've gotten some of the emails about them restricting some items, shipping some items to the US because of the weird tariff situation. And I didn't know for sure what was going on, so I was thinking about what I would do if I couldn't buy a Hobonichi for next year, because I have come to rely on this journal a lot as like a emotional support, and I didn't know what I could do without it. I also started time blocking around this time because I was really losing track of time since I had nothing to structure it. It was helping me, but also I can only keep up with that as much as like I can have chill. As long as I'm there to beat my time blocking halfway and actually create it, it works for me. But when I am not even in the mindset to create it, because I get really bad brain fog, it won't help because I haven't created it. This helps me reference things in the future. Ooh, on this day, I started drinking wine, right? And I wasn't meaning to drink the whole bottle, but I opened it and I didn't know it was like a cork bottle. So I opened it and I was like, there's no way, if it's a cork, I can't store it again because it's gonna go bad. So I started drinking it and I was watching like reaction videos to this one K-drama I really like. So I binged those reaction videos and I kept drinking. And then after a certain point, I was like, might as well finish the whole bottle. And 75% through the bottle, I was fine, right? I was totally fine. The last bit, I started getting really sick. And then I was in a whole world of my own, right? And then I threw up and went to sleep. And I was like, let's not ever do this again. I think it was a pretty high alcohol content too. Let me see. I must have written about this in my alcohol journal. So I'll quickly check in. Oh yeah, this was at 13.5%, which is pretty high for wine. So I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah. I'm still struggling and complaining about not having a job. Also these figures here, I forget their name, but I'm obsessed with these figures, but they're really hard to get because they're from China. And they're not as popular as Pop Mart, so they're not as accessible. And at this point I can't get it anyway. But I printed out some pictures to kind of relieve that want. Out with my friend. This is another day where I got 2 more Pop Mart boxes, and I got some of my favorites here as well. This Twinkle Twinkle the haircut, and then the merchant from the Petite Prince series. There was a dust storm in Chicago on this day, which was really strange because why? Okay, I was also really I was really sick, right? So I went and got checked for strep because I was like, this sounds like it could be strep. It wasn't strep. It wasn't COVID. It was not flu. But like a strange thing. And I'm like, what is going on with me? Because why am I so sick? And I know people claim that if you, there's like a stress response from your body if you're like running off of like a circumstance where you're like, I cannot be sick. And you like stop yourself from getting sick. And like, when you have free time, when you have a vacation, when you're like, oh, I can finally rest and relax, and I don't have those responsibilities anymore, you end up getting sick because your body's like, this is the time to get sick because we finally don't have to like be in a stressful situation anymore. And I think that's what might have happened for me. I like ordered in some food because I was craving some ramen, so I got some that ramen. I was kind of thinking, I went to Ross, right? And if anybody knows Ross, it's like a off-season discounted store where things that are like discarded from other bigger stores that are out of season that won't sell well come to Ross, right? And it's just a place to get cheap things. When I went in there, there were so many police officers, security there, like with like big ass vests, right? And so serious. And I was like, why? Literally, why? I'm like, this is where poor people exist, right? If people are coming here, they're not rich, they're not well off. Why are there so many police officers here? It made me really angry because I was like, I'm just here to chill out. I'm just here to window shop a little bit. some beautiful pictures. I took a photo of this. This did not capture the way it actually looked. It was beautiful. Met up with a friend, went to a little concert. Still sick. Really sick. Like, is this when I was really bad? Yes. This was the day I was having a really, really rough time. I was just like whimpering in bed the whole day because I was in so much pain. I couldn't even lie down without being in pain. I was feverish, sweating, and then once I'd sorted it out, I got cold. I couldn't eat. I could barely eat, but I forced myself to eat because I was like, I have to. It was just really bad. The whole day I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And so that's that. Thursday, apparently I felt a little bit better. I spent the whole day doing the Our Fantasy bingo decision making. So that's just like a readathon, where you have to complete a bingo board with and it's like filled with a bunch of prompts. So I went through those prompts and kind of decided books off of my TBR that could fit those prompts. I kind of spent the whole day doing that. And I also started talking about the 2026 Hobonichi release because I was like, it's close enough now. It really wasn't. It was May, but you know. Ooh. The ever-present fear of unemployment. I was low-key also thinking about how like employment and unemployment / is used to control us in a capitalistic society because it directly affects like just about everything in your life and your quality of life, and there is no real safety net for people struggling. Today my friend was tabling at a con, so I was just hanging out with her, which is a really interesting experience. And around May 25, I know my big goal has been to move out of my house. And it was around this time I was like, I might have to push back the date, the projected date for when I was supposed to move out. And just like kind of let it go for a bit. And like think about it after I actually secure something. And this really crushed me because I have been wanting to move out, and in Chicago moving out is like, you know, things are getting really expensive here. And it's been like a real worry for me. So I am privileged in that I do have a place to stay, and my family's not that bad. I would rather move out, but I can live through it. It's just frustrating, I think. Norton. On this day, I got charged for Norton, and I was like, that's not happening, right? Because I thought I'd canceled my subscription to Norton because I don't think it was helping. It's essentially a scam. So I was trying to find a way to cancel it. I spent multiple hours trying to look for where to cancel the subscription for Norton. And then I spent off that time, I spent so much time trying to find like a real person to contact to be like, I need to cancel my subscription. Couldn't find them. I was like, this is a scam company. I could not find a single piece of information on there, and I was getting so mad. I was like ready to do the most, right? Because now it's like my money is being taken. I eventually did find a way, but it was so buried in the website. I was like, that's not right. Like, how is this still functioning? Anyway, hard recommend against Norton. Don't ever use that. And I think y'all know better than me anyway. Yeah, these are some. I went to see Ado's Shinzo concert in theaters, and it was really underwhelming and a little upsetting because I thought maybe the audio wasn't mixed properly, and like it didn't seem like the theaters put in effort, or whoever did the video editing put in effort to make it like as immersive as it could be, because I had heard Otto's voice in the One Piece Red movie, and I was in theaters for that, and that music sounded completely different, and this music was just really flat. Like, just, I feel like it wasn't mixed properly. I don't know much about audio and like how those things work, so I couldn't tell you like what exactly was the problem, but I just feel like it could have been better. On this day, we were making puri, are these like little deep fried dough pastry things that we often make around Eid. And we spent like so many hours. I think we spent the whole day just doing this. And this is really tiring because you have to, first of all, we make an absurd amount because it lasts us multiple months. And you have to, first of all, you have to knead a big amount of dough, right? And we make like 3 different types. And all of that is like, say like 10 pound each, 10 pound of dough each, right? Maybe more than that. And then you have to roll all of them into little balls. And so that's like hundreds of balls for each of them, right? That gets hand rolled. And then for all of those little balls, you gotta roll them out so that they're flat little discs. And they gotta arrange them on a little plate. You gotta transfer them into a deep fryer, deep fry them. The whole process of deep frying them takes ages, right? And once you deep fry them, you have to strain them so that the oil drips out. Once they cool down a little bit, you gotta store them. All of that is so labor intensive. It was me and my whole family doing this. And you need a good amount of people. By the end, hands were hurting, back were hurting, shoulders were hurting. My feet were hurting because I was deep frying at some point and you had to stand up for that. And you have like this big spoon to like dip into the fry. Not the fry. To dip into the oil to like pick up like 10 puris at once and drain them out. So I've got that in one hand while I'm like dropping in other puris to deep fry. It was a whole thing. I had another interview here. It was like 5 minutes. It was very red flag. I finally deleted my watch later playlist on YouTube. So my watch later, this is not even my first watch later playlist, this is my point 2 playlist on YouTube. And it once more hit 5,000 videos. I have a bad habit of adding things to my watch later. And it hit 5,000 videos again. And every time it hit 5,000 videos, I just delete some and then have like be chill for a bit and then have it be full again. So I just decided to go all out and just deleted the whole playlist. I'll be honest with you, I'm back at a very high number at this point on my new playlist, but I try my best. Here I was having a tough time again, but this time I was having a tough time outside. So I went out to hang around downtown. I went to this mall and I wasn't supposed to stay there for long. I went to a manga store and then I got Panda Express because I was really craving like fast food. And so I just sat at the mall, ate my Panda Express, watched some videos and just chilled out at the table. And it was very liminal and interesting because the mall was quite empty at that time. And I was in a very well lit area. And I was just sitting there feeling sad and moping and sulky because I was once again worried about my job prospects. And I was thinking of going to the lake, but I had no energy to like go over to the lake actually. So I just sat there for a really long time. And now I can't remember if I did anything else afterwards. I might have just gone home. And then we have a long string of empty pages. 15 Sunday, I did not go to my graduation. Now this was a big deal. Well, I guess it isn't. I mostly was like really cunty about it. Because at first I was like, I'm not gonna go to my graduation because I'm not paying like $100 for my robe that I'm never gonna wear again, right? And on this day I felt a little sad about it. I'm not too sad right now, but I felt a little bad about it simply because I felt like I missed something. I felt like I missed closure. But that was all right. But I think another issue I was having was I never felt like I got to celebrate my graduation. Like I got to be like, you've done well, you worked hard, you managed to graduate. When like I remember everything strange that has happened throughout my whole college career that could have like totally fucked me over, and kind of did, but I kind of clawed back, God knows how. And I feel like I never really celebrated that. And I think one of these days I'm gonna just take time to myself and celebrate it, I think. Not sure how, but I'll think about something elaborate. I had a BTS scrapbook a while back that I kind of abandoned, and then I couldn't find, right? And it was in the most obvious place possible, but I couldn't find it, and I was searching for it because I wanted to put more stuff in it. I did update it. I might do a flip through of that. Having a hard time. Okay, so as you can see, I did nothing on this day, right? I was freaking out. I was having a hard time. I was feeling sorry for myself. I was ranting about it. This is a little embarrassing. Anyway, turns out August 27, I am searching for an email, and I find out that I got an email June 16 about an opportunity from a publishing house, which would have been a big deal for me that I missed, like completely missed. And I'm so like weirded out by this because I check my email multiple times a day, every single day. Like I'm always on my email. The moment I wake up, I check my email. The moment I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do, I check my email. I check my email every time I get a new email. And so it's so strange that I didn't see this email. And I'm like so weird because I'm on my email 24 hours. Like my notifications are on. I have no work life like division. I check my emails all the time. So this was really strange to me. And we get a lot of empty pages here because once again, heat wave struggle time. I have to fill this out. I missed filling this out. We had first OT7 live from BTS after 3 years. So this is a big deal. Some pictures. I went outside. I had a cute dream. I had more dark thoughts. This was a really bad day because this was when I think Diddy like came off with a really light charge, which fucked me up. And then the Big Beautiful Bill was passed in the House, which also really messed me up. And I was just so angry. And the double killer of like things are bad politically and things are bad personally, and the personal is political, so it's, you know, both. I was like, really. So on Friday I was like, let's build myself again. And I started to like play around with learning like the fire choreography, which went really well the first day. And then I just never continued. So maybe eventually I'll go back to do that. But it was kind of fun when I first started. I think I got like the 10 seconds or 30 seconds in to the song. On this day I also switched from Spotify to Tidal because I was like, I don't want to support a corporation that is so awful. So I switched to Tidal. I guess Tidal is marginally better. I think I've heard vaguely bad things about that the CEO of that company as well. I went volunteering on Saturday and the heat absolutely killed me. So I had to walk around 15 minutes to get to my bus. And walking back was so horrendous. I came home, I was red on the face. And being red in the face, maybe not a big deal, but I'm pale. I am so pale. And I never get red. And so when I saw that, I was like, wow. Because like that never happens. I'm a big sweater, so that's not a big deal. I sweat all the time. The moment there's heat, I'm sweating. But that sweat coupled with like being red, I was like, that's not normal. And it was just, the sun has been so brutal this summer. 3 weeks of oppressive heat. I was like, is the weather breaking? No, it didn't. It was still hot. So this was me struggling. I think this was around the time I was kind of talking about how I've changed since graduation, because it's been around over 3 months at this point, since I've graduated, and that's a big time, right? And I was kind of wondering about like how I've changed, and I feel like I've changed a bunch now, where I'm not like college students anymore, and I'm not necessarily like a newly graduated student. I feel like something has changed, and it's hard to pinpoint, and I'm sure this will be a little bit clearer in the future. those things I applied to that I was feeling hopeful about, but alas, another hard day. It just feels like brain fog. This V-Live felt really special because I caught it when they were actually doing it. I caught it real time because I wasn't sleeping. I think it was around 1 a.m. They did this and it felt really hopeful and really uplifting after everything, honestly. More photos because I couldn't sleep and I caught the morning. And the sky was really pretty. This Saturday, I went to the Chicago Zine Fest. Oh my god. Alright, hold on. This Saturday, I went, volunteering and I went to the Chicago Zine Fest. I was meant to write about it and, like, make a whole spread, but I only got this far. Because I, once again, didn't have the energy. But the Zine Fest was really, really cool. And there was some really fun stuff going on there, and a lot of interesting publications. I did pick up a few things. Let me show you what I picked up. Here are the things I got at the Zine Fest. This is not the most organized because it was, it's been a while and things have kind of found their own place and they're separated. So I bought this Okado ibuprofen book. This is from Perfectly Acceptable Press, which is an independent press here. And this was, I don't know how to really describe what this is. I just thought it was funny and interesting. I have yet to read it because I'm reading other things, but I will eventually get to it. But the sections I did read when I was there seemed really interesting. So I'll come back with the review of this eventually. I picked up this extreme horror book called Body Punk because I like the cover. Honestly, it was so crowded over there and I was so overwhelmed that I didn't have, like, the luxury to, like, go through all the things they had and kind of really look closely. So I picked up the one cover I liked. And I was told this was extreme horror, body horror, and I kind of was wanting that. And this is from Filthy Loot, which is also yet another independent press. They had a very interesting business card that I thought was nice. And I think this one has 4 short stories. And then the rest of this I picked up from a single place. They had, I think this one was free, and they had a free bookmark as well that I picked up. And I thought the design was really interesting. Frankly speaking, I don't think I knew what this is about, but I thought the design language was very interesting and I wanted to pick it up. This is White Moth's Song and Studies. I'm sure you can tell that I kind of picked up things that interested me but I didn't know about. And I like doing that. Like, I purposefully do that because I don't want, like, to know too much about the things I consume before I consume them. As long as I know that I'm interested in it and that I eventually will get to it, I don't want to know too much about it. So I did get a few things that I didn't know much about. Here's another zine I got. And once again, I don't know what this is about necessarily. It says Survey of the Apocalypse, and I think it's just things to answer. Which I think could be interesting considering the timeline we're in. There's actually an answered form, which I think is really interesting. So I'll be going through this eventually. Once again, some of these I bought just because I like the design of it and I wanted to support people. There were a few other books I liked, but they were too expensive for me to pick up right there, so it was for a later date. Alright, so this day I decided that it was time for me to kind of work on something that was actually, like, productive and that I was creating something, and that was really important to me. So I went back to my project that I started last year that I set aside because I was working on college stuff, which was just building and making this bag. And so I took a few days here, like 6-hour days of just working on this bag and completing it, and thankfully I was able to finish it. And yeah. I'm struggling with the heat. The heat was really bad on this day. I have barely any memories of the day because of the bad heat. These photos are from July 31st. July 31st, I went to the Autos concert in Chicago. I was really high up, and so getting to my seat, I was clutching at the railing and really focusing because I didn't want to fall off. Because if I misstepped once, I would die. Which it felt really precarious. I was also, it was around this concert that I started getting sick again. And I was getting a sore throat at this concert. This concert was strangely underwhelming, which I wouldn't expect. It was still a good experience and I don't regret it, but it didn't feel as soul powering as some of the other concerts I've been to have been. So it was alright. And I walked home late at night. And I think I got really sick around this time. Around this time, I was revisiting some old games from the past when I was a child. So I was watching playing Diner Dash, which is an Adobe game that I downloaded off Internet Archive. And I was just playing that. I'm still trying to finish it, but it's lost its shine on me right now. So it's going a little bit slower. But when I was playing, I looked down at my hand and I noticed that I pick up my pinky weirdly. And this is for the photo, so it doesn't look nearly as bad as it did when I was fully focusing and scrolling and my pinky was way out. And I was like, why do I always use my laptop like this? So I found it to be really strange. More empty pages. This is more recent. This is a packing slip from books I ordered. And then I ordered some stuff from Crocodile. So I got a bracelet, which I'm wearing right here, and I got RM's Right Place, Wrong People. I always get the title of this album confused, but I got those, and because I love the style in which the photos were done. I also got the Young Forever albums, which I've been meaning to get since I was in middle school, but I never had the money for it, and they were on sale for half off. So I did get them. Finally, images of the Hobonichi release, because this is August. These are all the things I was thinking about. The Junji Ito cover I knew I wasn't gonna get, but I put it here because I thought it was interesting. The design was. And I have no interest in Junji Ito, and I'm not invested in this collection, which I'm glad about because, one, it was only available for Hobonichi, two, it's completely sold out. And I do not want to partake in that fight. Is the choice of bow and tie design for the Chinese zodiac they do every year. And I think this is my favorite in a really long time. And so I really want to buy something from this. I don't want to buy the weeks because I won't use the weeks. The hon I might buy. As you know, I use the hon as a catch-all for just found text and found images where it's just memes, quotes, whether they're silly, funny, inspirational, whatever it may be, excerpts from fan fictions or books. All of that goes into my A6 hon. And currently I have all the One Piece hons because I was collecting those. So this year I could get the One Piece hon, or I could get this hon, right? I couldn't get both because I couldn't afford it. So this is still something I'm thinking about. If I get the horse, I really want the pocket or the ane. Because I know for a fact I use the pocket as my wallet, and that's a very functional wallet for me. And I want to try out the ane as a travel pouch, right? Because that seems really functional for carrying a lot of stationery when you travel. I have the small drawer pouch. I don't think I need another one. But right now, the only pouches available through the online retailers is the small drawer pouch, which is really frustrating. So I'm thinking about that a little bit more. Finally, around this time, the release was not, all the lineup wasn't completely released. But I saw this Kyohei Sakaguchi, If I Feel Sky cover, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the one for me. I'm not going to spoil it, but you're going to find out pretty soon anyway. And then around this day, I had some devastating news that I got rejected from this residency that I was really excited about. And then it stormed a bunch, and the basement flooded. So we spent 4 hours, me and my siblings, just cleaning up the basement. It was absolutely devastating, but it did get my mind off of the devastating news, and like I didn't have the luxury to kind of sit around and mope about this rejection. So this page is dedicated to Henry. Like I mentioned before, I've been wanting to adopt a cat. That is not something I can do currently, because once again, I'm not in a financial place to do so. But I have been visiting like adoption sites and seeing what's there, just for funsies. And a cat named Henry has caught my eye, and he was there earlier on this year. And I like became really taken with him. But I was like, it's not going to be the case. And then I saw that he got adopted, and I was like, great, Henry has a house. But then I see that he got back on the website, and every now and then I'll check on it and see like where he is at. And the most recent I checked, he was still there, and I'm like, that's really frustrating, because I do want him to be at a good home. And I've just become like really strangely attached to him. So that's about Henry, I guess. I was struggling on this day with going out because I was having trouble with my body. Ooh, yes. So I went out Sunday. I went to visit my friend on Sunday. And on this very particular day, it was Air and Water show, right? But there was also some kind of sports game going on. There was some kind of festival. There was some kind of marathon going on. And there was a few other things going on in Chicago. And so it was incredibly busy all over, which means public transport was totally clogged up. So it took me like 2 hours to get to my friend's place. And then it took me roughly 2.5 hours to get back home. And I was so frustrated because at this point I was really tired. Just wanted to get home. And I know I spent like half an hour, a little bit over, waiting for the bus. And there was no way I could walk home because it would be an hour and a half, and I just wasn't doing that. I didn't have that energy. I just wanted to get home. It was not a fun day. Struggles are still a thing. I was kind of thinking about how this has potentially been my easiest Hobonichi season ever, and that's good because I don't think I'll be able to order directly. 1, 2, I'm not in a financial place to order as much as I did last year. So it's good that I am not as tempted by everything. And I'm not seeing a lot of things that are tempting me. Even so, I know for a fact I can buy enough to like spend a considerable amount on Hobonichi. Because it's my favorite thing, because I know I will use it, because it's like a emotional support for me. But I don't need to. So I'm just gonna keep myself in check. The most important thing that I need to buy for me to be good next year is a cousin and a cousin cover. And I should be good, right? And I'm allowing myself that luxury. But I have an extra A6 cover from last year, which I'm glad I bought because I use my A6 covers on the Sterling ink, and this year they're selling it with touch-up, and I don't need that. Additionally, this year I'm not seeing a lot of A6 covers that are really drawing my eye, except of course the Field Sky A6, excuse me. Except of course the Field Sky A6 cover, which I'm not gonna buy 2 of, so that's that. And then I bought some more books. I've been in a really big mood to just read everything ever. So I have bought a few more books. And this is the day I found out about the opportunity I missed that I kind of mentioned back in June. So I was having a tough time here. I ordered some food from outside. I bought some jjajangmyeon because I was hungry and I was craving it. I think this page I was musing on the Civil War, the Second Civil War, in USA, which I do wonder, like, I'm really curious to know how history will be portraying this time period. I sent off a job-related email, and I'm hoping for the best. I'm still waiting to hear back news from that. On this day, I got optimistic, and I made a promise to myself that I'll buy a bag when I get a job. So because of that, I was looking at all the bags I wanted to buy and like searching across the internet for the one I wanted to buy. Simply because of the bag I was looking at to buy when I got my job has already been sold out completely. So I wasn't getting that. I could look for it on the used market, but the prices are really jacked up on the used market on that bag. So I'm not doing that. But then while I was searching for the bag, I went, don't do this to yourself, because I went from like being really hopeful and excited to being like slammed back to earth. And I was like, let's not do this. So I stopped looking at bags because I was like, I shouldn't get too excited way ahead of time, right? And then this is another day where I forced myself to go to the library. It is really easy for me to just stay at home and like get used to staying at home if I don't push myself to go outside. So I forced myself to go outside because I know that's better for me, even though I really, really, really didn't want to. But I'm glad I went. And that's the last day of August. I did order my 2026 Hobonichi. I ordered from Atlas Stationers. And I could have gotten it delivered, but I set it to pick up because I thought that it would be nice to just go out and get Hobonichi in person. I would have liked to pick it up in person when it came on the stores or in the stores. But I didn't want to take that risk because it's so important to me that I get the exact thing I want. And I have this weird like spiritual thing with my Hobonichi cousin where I need to get my first choice. Like I need to get the one that I want because like I look at it and it feels right. Because the cousin is so close to my heart. Like it is the Hobonichi book for me. And the cover has to reflect my life. And it's so important for me to get the right cover that if I don't get the right cover, I'm not going to enjoy using the Hobonichi cousin. I had that moment with the first year because I got the cheapest cover first year because I was like, I can't commit. And I despised that cover. I stuck it out the whole year, but I still hate that cover. Like every time I think about that cover, I get angry. And the more that time passes, I get angrier about that cover, which is really irrational. But I didn't want to take the risk. So I'm gonna spoil it. I got the Kyohei Sakaguchi Field Sky cover, which I anticipated not being that popular. And I wasn't worried that it was gonna sell out. But once again, I didn't want to take that risk. And yeah. These are my most recent spreads. I finally cleaned my room. And I was looking at Kinokuniya for some stuff. I was specifically looking at art books. Because another thing that I really wanted was the Kyohei Sakaguchi art book, which was available through the Hobonichi website, so I was checking where else it was available. And then another cover I'm thinking about for my A6 cover, this is just like me, like, kind of thinking about it, is some of the older Techo covers from last year are still available on some sites. And so I was thinking about the Tanksy cover by Pam, which I feel like is kind of interesting to me. And that's pretty much it. I went on for a really long time. So thank you for watching till the end. Leave me some kind of emoji, let's say. Leave me a pen emoji if you made it this far. And if you're buying Hobonichi this year, let me know what you're picking up. If you already bought it, let me know what the experience has been. If you bought it directly, let me know how it's been. Thank you for sticking so far. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like and subscribe. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye.